Hey, thanks again for joining me at Heesh Worldwide Publishing News. I want to bring you to another level of thought due to some issues that we are seeing through the pandemic and the struggle that is being caused due to the pandemic. I'd like for everybody to have a better understanding for some of the things that we have been going through as an entire race of humans, and where the connection and the disconnection is regarding. Um, this particular episode is the system part four, and I want you to take a look first. I have three three different things we're going to take a look at today. They're all things that we were taught as children. You'll find that there will be people of other religions that will refuse to stand. There will be people that refuse to stand for our pledges and our songs. They won't sing those songs. And although I think a lot of them are actually participating by way of religion to form an understanding, even sometimes they don't know why they're not standing. It's just a part of their religion that they don't. And for me, going into the latter part of my adulthood, going into 50 years old, I'm coming to a realization that there are a lot of subliminal issues that are going on. Now, here's the thing. As people, we've learned that our language, some of the words, black, white, so on and so forth, are problems within society. They help to provoke and cause prejudice. But I think it goes so much further than the dialects and the language, not only the words, but the way that the words are said. And so when I go into the creation of the pledge and some of the things that uh, we learned as we were growing up, um, I'm certain that the same thing happens in religious lyrics, gospel lyrics. Um, let's take a look at what it is that we're able to comprehend and see. Now, let's keep in mind that a creative individual tears words apart consistently. Okay. Sometimes we just take letters. Sometimes we tear words apart. Sometimes we, turn things upside down and add numbers and so on and so forth. But at the same time, let's have an understanding for what the possibility is regarding paranoia. This is there's no need for a paranoid theory here. This has to do with coming to grips and having an understanding, because if the issues weren't continuing to happen, then we wouldn't have to explore these issues any further. However, again, through a pandemic, by way of people who are considered of color, and the owners who were actually white, there has been so many issues. It is literally pathetic. Okay. And the bottom line is, when the sound is time for change, and things really do need to change. In my mind, foundation is the system, and I'm not seeing that the system comes first for the change. It's almost as if they would rather us receive the economy. before they change the system. And with that said, that is what causes the rich to get richer and the poor to get poorer. This lack of understanding, this lack of comprehension. So we get angry and upset that we know of subliminal messages, but we don't know how far those subliminal messages go. So let's take a look. Even here on this particular document, this digital document, you're able to see a lot of different things. Okay. Well, what I want to start with is this word right here, flag. And the reason I want to start with this word because I want to take some of this out. Okay. And the reason I want to take this out is because I believe that genocide is actually happening here in America. And the way that it's happening is due to negativity that is actually perpetrated every single day in the judicial system as well as in the legislature. Okay. And the difficulty is to actually understand how that is even a possibility. Okay. At the same time, when this type of language is used, FAG, toward an individual, a human being, it's not so readily taken out of our dialect. More negativity. Okay. Now, let's explore this a little bit further. Let's go to the next area here. United States. United States. They're united. Okay. The way that we see United States here in America, North America, in the United States of America, we have 52 territories, maybe more now. Okay. They're about as big as the area in Europe. I think, aside from Russia. Okay, Europe, an entire continent, is the same size as this small territory, this country, the United States, actually, which is huge when you compare the two, right? Okay. So, I mean, what's actually united? I think it's really a state of mind that's united. If you ask me, those people were probably actually thrown out of Europe, came to America with a moronic state of mind, a moronic viewpoint, ended up going to Africa, stealing people and forcing them to work for them. Things that they more than likely didn't want to do when they were in Europe. Beating them, drugging them, stacking them on boats, causing sickness, people jumping overboard into the ocean, rather try to swim back or swim forward to try to find land than go through this state of not knowing what the heck is going on and die by drowning. Right? And when we think of reparations, none of this stuff is resonating to the man that owes, the prejudice man. Right? So I'm pretty sure it's a state of mind because if you look at the economy, you go to, for instance, Great Britain. Look at the British pound. That British pound seems to always be a better economic stance than the American dollar. But America's this great superpower, right? Okay. So let's see if we can take apart this word America, because I can't see much more than what's actually here already. These two letters together, morning, AM. The first continent, Africa. Again, we know that these words are put together in a fashion that have literally slowed us. So this is just a study, if anything, an awakening. And if it's not happening, maybe there'll be some change. But keep in mind as we look further, a toast that may open up the mind of an individual who has been drinking and to the republic, the public. But what goes on in the mind of a creative genius is read here, READ, read. Something that the Africans couldn't do when they got here is read. But to the issue that happens if they're found out and it goes public, written right here. Now, as we're reading this comprehensively by way of definition, having an understanding all the way through, um, but not breaking down the word in, the N word, and the fact that they're consistently shunned through this great America. Okay. But I mean, comprehensively, all the way through, they're teaching us that we're one nation under God, indivisible. And we're reading it over and over again and trying to understand it just like this, with liberty, which is another one. Um, you got lie. They'll be lying the whole time. And justice for all. Who's receiving justice here? Who do you know that we have consistent issues about justice? We are not receiving much more than prejudice. So I guess we're just changing letters around and offering what we want as time allows. Let's dig a little bit deeper because there are songs that we're taught. And you'll note that those songs, note that these songs, we don't get to normally. I'm not sure who does. We don't get to see the whole song. And so when I go in here, my country, tis of thee, tis of thee. Uh, I remember back. I I don't remember how I learned this song other than being around some white people that already knew it because I never read any of these lyrics. I never listened to a song on a radio, played on a radio, or these lyrics being said on a radio or on a record or anything of the sort. Okay. So I don't know how I know any of these lyrics whatsoever. And let's keep in mind, I don't even want to know what's in here, these other three. I have no idea that this exists the whole time. And you would think that this is something that would be taught. The people that actually know this would have to actually force this taught. Otherwise, it becomes no one knows that this exists. One, two, three, and four. Okay. So let's take a look at the part that we do know. What I focus on is first and foremost not knowing the words, the first line. My country tis of thee. Because it was, to me, it was tis of thee, a sweet land. Their land was 100%, if not 100% free, extremely cheap. They came here, the government stole the land, so it was free for them. Okay. They warred the people that were already here and then started selling the land, giving it to the businesses for extremely cheap. Slaves were offered a portion of what the white man received. Okay. So the slaves were offered 40 acres and a mule. The white man received 160 acres with some stipulations and probably some other things. You're looking at a difference of three-fourths. I guess the mule's worth the other 120 acres of land. Or maybe it's just that these people want to call us a mule, or maybe by way of thought, state of mind, they were capable of passing the mule's thinking directly into our thought process so that we never questioned these issues. Of the I sing. I thought it was of the I see. Never corrected as I spoke. I was a pretty good singer. I'm pretty sure they could hear me. Of the I see. See, the minute that you start reading what it is that these people are putting in their books and into their literature and their lyrics, there becomes a big issue. And for them, instead of just turning around and doing the right thing, it's been a lot of issues. As you find, if you pay a dark skinned man well enough, he'll cover up these issues. And what I'm here to tell you today, as an individual who is and will be one of the top entrepreneurs in the United States, this issue, this problem needs to stop with the new economy. They are now electronically documenting, and I'm repeating from previous chapters, as this blockchain begins to absorb information, the behavior toward people, human beings, period, can end up drastically causing an issue. It can cause not only extreme problems, but a war. And believe me when I say that a war of the new ability is not something that people who don't have money, even people that do have money, but people who don't have the proper information, who don't have the proper material to protect themselves, who don't have an understanding for this is actually happening, they won't be able to defend themselves. Land where my fathers died, land where the pilgrims cried. These people have fed us drugs to get us here. Talk about pilgrims. This word pilgrims mentioned in holy, the definition holy, all the way to the issue that grams are used in measurement for drugs. And then they got the word pride right by it. Now, I'm not sure how or why the E is missing from every, but I'm pretty sure that there is a subliminal message there as well. They talk about letting freedom ring, but who's actually free? Who is actually free? Because when I go to court to behave in a civil fashion and say there is a violation and it's happening to me, they don't listen. They look for a proof that I might not have. And when I do have that proof, they shun the proof. We don't take digital proof, or your proof isn't organized properly for them to see. Like I'm supposed to be able to organize like a um, an attorney. Then, as you become more capable of actually progressing in the courtroom by way of truth, they completely change their little pattern. They start doing something new and improved to block you from actually entering the court. And you gotta have an understanding for this. On top of the fact, there are three other paragraphs that you've learned within this song to just not even know that it exists. Let me say that again. From the judicial system to where you actually began to learn as a child, you know one section of this song, unless you went into military or some school where you had some type of genius, or a private school. You don't even know that two, three, and four exists. Now I've broken down one, and you will forget to go into two, three, and four and see what you see there. Because all of this is about a king. Take a look. The very end. In the end, bottom line, great God, our king. Well, they left because they didn't want to have a king. And then they called God the king. And how many people don't believe in a God? Don't even understand the word God. Holy. Not Holy, but holy. Whollly. Holy. God. Everything. The whole thing. The universe, the omniverse, the outside of the omniverse, and everything in it. Holy. God. Everything outside of it. Holy. But that economy over there in Europe has consistently been better than the United States. But worldwide, we use the United States fiat currency. So let's take a look further, because we've created some of this ourselves. And I'm not even sure as what we've created. I know we have our own national anthem as African Americans. And I mean, from what I see, by behavior pattern, just seems like when we pass on to the next generation and they start using African American things like the national anthems and things like that, there's going to still be an issue within. Instead of a paranoia for it's going to be like a half and half. So if you're paranoid, you're really paranoid now because, oh, but you didn't see. They'll be talking about what you didn't see versus what you did see, and what you saw was negative, but there's a positive as well, which is why we just try to read all of this. There shouldn't have to be a change, right? Shouldn't have to have a separate national anthem, should we? The national, I mean, it's the whole nation, right? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, the sun in the morning, the sun, the thing that they have passed into our information as Jesus, so that truly we don't think of messing around with it when in reality, more than likely, a dark skinned man, people with melanin have an understanding, something that they love, the sun, is something that we cherish. But when white people go outside in that sun, they burn. Their skin dissolves. It turns deep ass, nasty fucking red and dry. That prejudiced person who would actually, if they don't get their way, ruin that great entity that we look at as great. The same people that start wars, cause the wars that we've seen, and then allow uh, defense to be penetrated to hurt something. If you look today, even today, during this great pandemic, where we believe that we have a structure where, with individuals who are supposed to be there to help us in an emergency, we have now seen that they have committed a fraud, gotten away with it, okay, put all kinds of fake businesses inside documents and so on and so forth. Know that that's been happening for certain. Okay, they've been receiving money through that. Okay, causing people who can't do much for themselves by their will to destroy shit so that they can rebuild it. As long as nobody knows that's what we're doing, they're making large sums of money while what they call minorities are suffering. Now they look at us like they're trying to get to another planet when it should be the whole world trying to get to another planet. A, B, uh, they'll never survive in any atmosphere without our gene. Okay, so they probably have a few dark-skinned people with them who more than likely, I'm not sure, but and I don't want to release negative energy to this standpoint because this standpoint, NASA is truly it's comprised of those who have a large amount of intelligence. But the reality of the situation is that this prejudice man has been blocking people who have the ability to do the same thing, especially in America, but I'm certain all over the world. You'll find that when African American gets to the forefront, he consistently does things in a fashion that helps the entire world for a minuscule amount of energy. While this negative man is wasteful and consuming and causing a lot of issues. One day they're going to say to the former slave, the African American, that it was a black man that was calling the shots the whole time. One day they're going to try to say that shit, and people are going to believe them through the hypnotic trance of that religion, their Christianity. But the reason I'm putting this particular video together is because I want uh, us to have a better understanding early enough. So as we continue, national anthem. There's bright stripes and bright stars. They have white stripes, no black, no black within the flag at all whatsoever. Okay, and I'm not sure how to really look at that at this point, by way of what we're understanding versus what we stand for as a people. Uh, I mean, the human race, not black, white, but humans. The rockets, red glare. This is the stuff that they're wasting they waste a lot of energy fighting instead of just doing the right thing. And then the bottom line again, the one that we know, one that we have consistently memorized, or the land of the free and the home of the brave. I mean, I look at this, man, and from far away, literally, from far away, I see some things in this that I don't even want to see. What so proudly we hauled instead of hailed, right here. Slaves is what they hauled in the land of the free and the home of the braves. This perilous fight. This is a perilous fight that we have going on here, isn't it? Especially if we only know the first paragraph. They don't see our rockets and our bombs and the way that they stare at us because of our skin color, because of the status that we had when we came to America, because we were here first over the land. Like they're the landlord or the overseer, or put it like this: give up the land, or we're going to take it, or we're going to destroy it, and there won't be any land at all. With the way that we were taught about this thing says footsteps pollution. Blood has washed out their foul footsteps. Pollution. Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps. Pollution. I mean, the further I go into this, the worse it is. And for me, growing up, I grew up in suburbia. And as I grew up, I learned that most of the people, Caucasian descent, not only were they getting ahead of me, not through what they were learning, but through what they were given, not through what they had thought of themselves, but what someone else actually took the time to tell them. And with that information that they received, they didn't go and tell their black counterparts that same information. The stuff that they weren't receiving in school, how to fill out taxes. Oh, credit is so important. You don't even understand. Go into the military. That'll help you later when it comes to combat and discipline. They're not teaching their black counterparts that information. And they know about it in the large, and together they'll sit down and talk about it aloud together. Blame it on the fact that they didn't have a daddy. The black man, he didn't have a father, so he's not going to know. Don't teach the niggers. Don't teach them the things. Don't teach those dark skinned people the things that I teach. Of course, they're using the N word. You know, there's other issues, but the bottom line is every single time over the land of the free and the home of the brave. And what I want to know is who's free and who's receiving justice in the United States of America. Thanks for watching. It's Heesh Worldwide Publishing. I'm your man, Prentice Johnson. Please like, subscribe. Let me know, what is it that we can talk about? What kind of information can I bring to you to help you gain an understanding for where we're at as a people, for progressive sake? And how can I help further us as humans, human beings? Because that's the bottom line when it comes down to it. But we don't want to end up in a situation where we start doing the same thing to them that they did to us. But it seems to me that's what they want. They would much rather see how strong this dark skinned man is than turn around and start doing the right. All right, so today I started out going down my timeline, and I saw this viral math problem. This is a problem that I've seen several times. I've had an issue with this particular problem versus other individuals, and I have an understanding for both sides of this particular issue. This is where it actually brings me, however. I've had problems from 2007 until now, 2021. Okay? Problems have stemmed with the system. It starts with employment. So when I say it starts with employment, you got false advertising, you have bad management within the structure, people that are incapable of picking proper employees, people who lie when they decide that that it's time to go out and look for employees. Then when you get inside the establishment, finally, you have a systematic gender conflict, a racial conflict, and an issue with policies and incapable management on the inside. Okay? Now, every single company claims that its best policy consistently to tell if you're having an issue. Every single company says it. You have a problem, you have a complaint, bring it to your manager. If you can't bring it to your manager, bring it to his boss. And every single company, when you brain issue normally turns against you before it turns against that manager or that other employee. Okay? Now, you have to hear me out because here's the reality of the situation. Okay? Now, every individual that listens to this video pays taxes. Okay? Now, you're paying taxes no matter what. You pay taxes if you go out and spend money, okay, right off the front, and then if you're working, most people like to work because you get that extra income. I like to work extra. I work all day long if I can. Okay? They take money away from your paycheck as well. Okay? That money goes into the pockets of individuals who say that they're putting that money to good use. Alright, there's possible 10 different ways that you can name those funds that you're paying on a daily basis, whether it be taxes on your home, whether it be taxes through your company, or when you go to the store, those taxes go to the United States government in order for them to render a service. Alright, so now, reality. Let's have a reality check. People do not ask to be born. So, as an individual, a person, a human, you have the right to two things for sure. The number one thing that you have the right to is well-being. Now, there may be arguments regarding well-being. What actually comes with well-being is what comes with well-being is it your primary needs? Is it your secondary needs? What comes along with primary needs? What comes along with secondary needs? What is well-being? Right? Okay. And then to take it a step further, as a person, you have the right to freely become the individual that you want to become, just so long as you don't tamper with another individual's well-being purpose. Okay. So as long as you're a person, as long as you're a human, you have the right to succeed as far as you can succeed, or as much as you possibly can as an individual, so long as you don't tamper with another individual's well-being. Really simplistic, two simplistic things, right? Systematically, this is not taught. It's not a part of any projection I've ever heard. They use words like freedom, break those words down, and use incapable, moronic intellect by way of subliminal messages against human beings. Okay? Now, again, let's go go back to the primary subject in this particular situation. This viral math problem that we all learned growing up. Okay, I consider myself so in math. However, have an extreme understanding for what math is. Most people do not. Math is truly common sense. However, as it becomes more complicated, it's not as common. Okay? And really simplistically, math is not something that we make up. Okay? Math is actually a problem. Math is actually a way of solving a problem. And to break it down further, it has a question and there is a formula that leads to an answer. And you can tamper with it, change it. There may be 1, 2, or 3 ways to get to it. However, it's always the same. You can't mess with that as a reality. So however it's presented, if it's presented incorrectly, there becomes an issue. It becomes a serious issue. Now, let's start off with the facts. You pay taxes to be taught. The reason you feel that you're paying taxes every day is to be certain that your children are in a place where they're taught to think. They're trained to calculate and understand. However, when it comes to these types of problems, you're in a position where you know for certain, just by looking at this problem, look, this person who posted it, and the answer is 1. Has the same thought. I have the answer, same thing, 1. Right? Real simplistic, right? This is how we were taught. We know for a fact this is what we were taught. This is how we were taught to calculate this information. This is what we were taught to know for a fact. Okay? So then we were taught order of operations. We're trying to figure out what the order of operations is. Well, we know what the order of operations is. It's so simplistic. It's easy for us. Okay, that's what makes this equation so easy to calculate, right? Okay, so then we go to the question. All right. Let's start over on this side. I'm taking a look and we say, okay, well, really simplistically, it's 6 divided by 2 times 1 plus 2. That's how you say it, right? Yes, that's how you say it. That's exactly how you say it. Okay? So it's red. Alright, so how do you get your answer? Well, you know you're supposed to do the parentheses first. Right? Now, you do your parentheses first. Parentheses first, 1 plus 2. That equals 3. Please, right now, you come down to the next line, and you have 2 times 3 divided by 6. Right? How do you say that? You say 6 divided by 2 times 3. Right? Still got your parentheses. How do you get the answer? Well, you still have to get rid of the parentheses. That's what you were taught. So on the next line, you're going 2 times 3, and that equals 6. Don't get rid of the parentheses until the math is done on that particular side. And that's what you were taught. Now, 6 divided by 6 is 1. That was the answer. Now, when they explain this, they say that this is the math that was before 1917. After 1917, there was a different math. Right. Okay. So you look at it in a different fashion. Because there is no way that this is wrong. Okay? Keep in mind that your math is important. Calculation is important. If you can't take a whole 1 plus a whole 1 and it equals 2 whole 1s, there's a problem. Okay? If you're not taught that, learn that, able to apply that, it becomes an issue. Okay? So if you're paying attention, you go to school, hey, I know this answer already. It's the same thing. Same thing. Okay? 6, you can say it in a different way. 6 divided by, so you take out a line, put it underneath the 6, 2 times 1 plus 2. 6 divided by 2 times 1 plus 2. Right? What's the answer? Go down to the next line. It's 6 divided by 2 times 3. Because I added my 1 plus 2. Still got the parentheses. I haven't done the outside multiplication. Right? And it doesn't say that once you're done with that the parentheses stays. That's how you get rid of the parentheses. That's what they told us. So now 2 times 3. Right? That equals 6. So now I am 6 divided by 6 equals 1. Same answer. Right. Then they couldn't do it with the calculator. This wasn't making sense to the proper authority, the calculator. The end all see all that we created. So now there's a different math. Right? Because they couldn't teach you right to begin with. You can't calculate the right answer. 1 was not the right answer. Now, I'm 48 years old? 48 years old. We learned this in like junior high. And we probably got high so that we didn't remember what the fucking teacher was teaching us. So here's your actual answer. 6 divided by 2 times 1 plus 2. Okay? Your parentheses are there. Right? One thing that you'll always remember is there's these little sayings that go on, little white lie. Never assume. Assume makes an ass out of you and me. Right? Well, and these other two, you assume multiplication by parentheses. You were taught to assume multiplication by parentheses. But if you didn't assume anything and just added the x there, you wouldn't be having this issue to begin with, the times. But you couldn't just add the times because then that x couldn't be an exponent. Little art of confusion for you. Right? So now we have the times there. And as soon as that times is there, and I can get rid of that parentheses after I've already calculated what's inside the parentheses. Can So now 1 plus 2 is 3. And when I bring it down to the next line, holy cow! What do we have here? 6 divided by 2 times 3. Wow, okay. So now we can actually calculate this problem. Left to right. So then it's 6 divided by 2 equals 3 times 3. Oh, and there I can get my answer. Here's the answer, people. And it's simple. You've been giving money to a bunch of dumbasses. They can't even teach you that your problem starts with them. Because in a lot of cases, they don't even know that they're the start of the problem. They're never going to tell you, and they might, I'm sorry, I might be wrong, they might someday begin to tell you that your time is your most important asset. And because it's your most important asset, you need to use it wisely. Because then you can start thinking that if a person is teaching you the wrong thing, you can choose whether or not to be around that individual. You can choose whether or not that person is actually going to be your teacher. And there won't be any argument about it. Because you're able to calculate the right answers now. Because you understand that your time is so important that you go through and you find the right answers yourself. And these people are not teaching me how to think. They're not teaching me how to calculate. They're not teaching me how to do anything but take it up the ass when it comes to another dumb motherfucker that they taught. This is the reality of the situation. Take it for what it's worth. Have an understanding for what it is. Because come tomorrow, if you didn't understand what I just told you, and what I have actually taken the time to put together so that you have an understanding, it is not going to be my fault. It's going to be yours. Because I said some pretty simplistic things. The most important thing that you should get out of this video, your time is the most important thing that you as an individual own. And 2, you have the right to well-being and the right to become your full potential. This is Prentice Johnson, Heesh Worldwide Publishing, and I'm out.